show you how to graph equations on the calculator, right? Linear lines, it could graph anything, but 10C we focus on linear. So this would also work for the other functions that we'll do in the future. And then also how to find your x and y intercepts, also on the calculator, okay? So before we start, we're gonna randomly make one up. So let's go 2x plus 5y. Let's make it so they're not really, really nice ones. Let's go 8. Do you guys agree that one x-intercept is going to be nice and the other one's not going to be? Right. Not that it mattered. I just want to make something up. So the thing is, guys, for you to graph anything on the calculator, your calculator only accepts y equals equations. Right? So you would have to rearrange this for y equals. So there's no going around that. So whatever function that you have to graph, you do have to do the work in rearranging it if it's not already rearranged for you. Okay? So it's just pretty quick. So then it's 5y equals, what's kind of 2x, what is going to be on the other side? Minus, right? 2x plus 8. And then we're going to divide everything by 5. So then, and the calculator, you don't have to put decimals. It'll accept whatever if you leave it as 8 over 5, or you can change it to a decimal. Doesn't matter, okay? But again, your calculator, to graph it, it needs to be in y equals form. So you're probably, if you played around with your calculator already, have you guys found the y equals button? Right? So on the very, very top left, not top, but where the buttons start, this y equals button right there will graph whatever function you want it to graph. Okay, so again, in this course, it'll be all the linear stuff. So you hit the y equals, okay, so hit y equals. I have stuff in there from other classes, so if you have stuff in your my calculators, there's probably stuff there. Just clear it. So what I mean by clear is just put your little cursor and hit the clear button, which is right under the X down arrow. Right? You guys all see where the clear is? So give you a second, just hit clear. Anything that's there, clear it out. Put up your hand if you don't know what I'm talking about. So I want all of those to be blank. Everybody has blank there? Okay, yes, yes. All right, so now we can start typing in. What's wrong, Jason? We're good? It's blank? All right, so for us to type this in, okay, a lot of us have the fraction button on the calculator. Okay, so there's two ways. If you have an 83, you have to put your slope in brackets. Okay, if you have an 84, you have a fraction button. Okay, so the way you can get your fraction button, there's two different ways depending on what calculator you have. So if you have this calculator, do you guys actually see the little fraction button? Even if you don't, the ones that have the colored calculator, what I want you guys to do, where your little blinker is, just go alpha and the button right beside it. Only the ones that have the colored ones, okay? Did everybody that has the colored one get the fraction button? Yes? Those ones that don't have the colored ones, guys, pay attention because I don't want to repeat myself. The ones that don't have the colored one, you guys still have a fraction button, but if you go, I think it's second. So, nope, not second, alpha. I never use this one anymore. All right, so if you go alpha, y equals, alpha, y equals, you're going to get a little legend that comes up with the 84s, okay? And then you can hit number 1. To me, I don't use the fraction button. I just put my slope in brackets. Then I don't have to worry about finding a fraction button at all, okay? When the slope is 2 numbers. Okay. So I'm going to type it in. The way it'll work for doesn't matter what calculator you have in front of you, okay? So if you just have an 83 or an 84 or the colored one, if you have the fraction button, then you're going to put the -2 on top and the +5 on the bottom. If you don't have the fraction button, you're going to use the bracket. So the brackets are right above the 8 and 9. Okay. So then I'd go bracket negative, so you have to use the negative button down below, -2, use your divide sign. This is only if you don't have the fraction button. If you have your fraction button, just put the -2 on top, use your arrow down, and put the 5 on the bottom. But I'm not using the fraction button. And then if you have the fraction button, you're going to use your over arrow, right? This one right here, right? And then you're going to put an X. This is the nice thing, guys. You have an X shortcut button. The button right beside alpha, see where it says xt theta n? That is your X shortcut button to graph functions. Because did you guys, any of you notice that there is also an X on the store button in the first column? Like you'd have to hit alpha on. You could use that one as well. But it's just, this is your fast shortcut button when you're graphing, is right beside your alpha. Right? So you don't have to hit alpha, just hit the button right beside alpha. Did everybody get an X pop up? So does everybody have -2/5, whether it be a fraction button or in brackets, and then put an X beside it? Put up your hand if you can't get that. Everybody's good? Awesome. And then now we're going to go plus. So use your plus button, right, first column. Now you could use your fraction button again if you wanted to, but could you just go 8 divided by 5? It will do order of operations. So you can just go 8 divided by 5. Or like I said, use your fraction button, go 8 on the top, 5 on the bottom. It will be equivalent. The way I typed it in should work, whether you have an 83 or an 84 calculator. But like I said, if you have a fraction button, it'll look really pretty. It'll look exactly like this. Okay. Everybody have that? Put up your hand if you don't have that typed in. It's okay if you don't. You've not done this before. Put up your hand so I can help you. Everybody, might be a new world record that I've had nobody not punch it in properly. Or couldn't, got it? Awesome. All right, so the next thing, do you guys agree that when we graph paper pencil, we graph on an existing grid that has a scale? So your calculator has graph paper in it, okay? You can change that graph paper. So right now, I want to get our graph paper all to be the same because I have no idea what your graph paper is on your calculator right now. But what we call a standard window on the calculator is a -10 to 10 on the x-axis and a -10 to 10 on the y-axis. Can you guys all visualize that? Do you think that's going to work for every graph we do? A -10 to 10? No. But it's going to work for this. So I want us to all have the same same graph paper. So there's a fast way to get your standard graph paper. Okay. So what we're going to do, all of us do this, so our graph's going to look exactly the same. So we're all going to hit zoom. So zoom is at the very top above the delete button. So everybody hit zoom. Then you're going to get this crazy window. Hit number 6. A zoom 6 always gets you back to a standard window because we will change our window a lot. More in 20-1 than 10C. Standard window is kind of where we can hang out in 10C, but graph paper will change, right, depending on the scenario that we're graphing. So all of you hit a 6. So if you hit a 6, we all should get this graph. Does everybody have a graph that looks like that? Perfect. Did anybody's calculator kick you out? Did yours kick you out? So then you typed something in. You probably used a minus sign instead of a, oh, good. Nope, you didn't do anything wrong. So your plots were turned on. So nothing can be highlighted up there. So just nothing. So just hit enter and then graph. But I need to mention that to everybody because that happens lots. Guys, listen up. So this can, listen up because this is going to happen to you and you're going to be like, what's going on? Especially if you have one of my calculators and you're using my calculators. In your y equals, sometimes this is going to happen where all of a sudden these plots are highlighted. They're darkened. They need to be shut off. You'll understand in 3 weeks what those mean. Okay? They're a part of the calculator that you can input data in and make scatter plots. We're not making scatter plots right now. So we need to have those turned off. So that will happen sometimes when you put your calculator in your bag and you don't put your cover on and buttons get pressed by accident. If you're using Gentleman, one of my calculators, it can happen because we actually use those in different courses. And you will use them as well. You just haven't used them yet. So if that happens, okay, all you have to do is use your up arrow and then have your blinker blink it, okay, and hit enter. So if you hit enter right now, it will turn it off. So please make sure none of those are highlighted. If they end up getting highlighted by accident, when you go to graph, it kicks you out because it's trying to read your plot 1 as well and it gets confused. Okay, so make sure those are off. Did anybody else have the highlighted by accident? So everybody else got the graph? Put up your hand if you don't have this. Everybody's good? Okay. So graph. Oh, you can't use the minus, you have to use the negative. And then you should be good. Good. Anybody else? So the other thing too, guys, can't stress enough because this is a common mistake that happens, is if it's a negative, gentleman. If it's a negative number, you can't use the minus. You have to use the negative beside the period point. Okay. All right. So if you wanted the table of values from this, okay, on the very top there, do you see where it says graph? Right above graph, what do you see? You see table. So if you go second graph, there's your table of values. You can scroll up and down. Okay? So that table of values you created paper pencil in grade 9, you don't ever have to create a paper pencil ever again. Well, in 10C, 20-1 or 30-1, because you don't get to use your graphing calculator in calculus. But your table of values will always be on your calculator. So you can use that to help you graph if you want to. Okay. So everybody go back to graph. So hit graph. So how you find your x and y intercepts off your calculator. Okay. I'm going to write these down. So to find your y-intercept, do you guys agree still algebraically we had to let x equal 0 to find our y-intercept? You still have to do that on your calculator, but there's a process. For you to put an x equal 0 in here, you're going to go second, trace. So I'll show you where these are. So see where it says C-A-L-C, calc, right above trace? That calculate screen is where majority of your time will be done or being used on your calculator. That will calculate anything that we want to calculate. Not anything, but majority of the stuff that we do with functions gets calculated there. So if we go second, trace, second, oh, that's why I can't press here, I gotta do it here. My Lord. Second trace, okay. Do you agree that we want to know the value when x equals 0? You guys agree with that? Oopsie, oh, go back. Sorry. It's just getting worse and worse. Pull that back over. All right. So then what we're going to do is we're going to hit number 1. All right, so if you hit number 1, what's going to happen on your graph, oh goodness, when you hit number 1 on your graph, an x shows up at the bottom. All right, so then you can just say, what do we want x to equal? 0. So you just put a 0 and then hit enter. And it'll give you your x-intercept. That will happen with any function, guys. That process, so second trace, number 1 value. If you hit number 1 on any function, that allows you to put any x value into the function. Okay, so here, you're just going to say x equals 0. And then on the bottom, you quickly see y equals 1.6. There's your y-intercept. Okay. Now, to get your x-intercept, right? So again, you still need to understand the algebraic process. So to get an x-intercept, what are you guys used to doing? Yeah. Because you can go into your mode and change your calculator to change it to decimal. I can show you where that is. So if you go down here, see where it says auto, just change it to decimal. And you highlight it. All right, so now if we want, yep, question? So yours, I'll have to help you later because the Casio, that one I don't know really quick, but I can help you. So do you have your textbook or your manual at home? Yeah. So make sure you bring it. That'll be the fastest way because that, like I said, I don't know the Casio really quickly. I figure it out all the time because I always have a couple students that have them, but you have to go to your menu to get it to graph. Okay? Okay, guys, listen up. We only have a couple minutes. So again, on your calculator, to find an x-intercept, do you guys agree we have to let y equal 0? So we can't use the same feature because what we just did, that will only allow us to put x in, right? We let x equals. So guess where the y equals 0 goes? In the y equals. Do you guys agree? We want y equal to 0? So if you want something to be y to equal something, you go back into y equals. Don't cover up your equation. You're going to go to y 2. Do you agree that we want to know where that equation equals 0? So in y2, so again, go y equals. Use your down arrow, right? Go to y2, hit 0, and then hit graph. Hit graph because we're going to get back to our graph. Okay. So if you don't have color, you probably can't see the line. Do you guys agree? Because the line is the x-axis. But it's there. Do you guys agree that the x-intercept, guys, listen up. Do you guys agree that x-intercept will be where those two lines intersect? Are we good? So how we figure out where those two meet, back to your calc screen. So you're going to go second trace. So everybody goes second, back into the calc screen where we found value. Any guesses which one I'm going to pick? Yeah, number 5. Because do I want to know where that intersection is? So you pick number 5 for intersect. There's 2 ways we can do this, but this is the one that I like the most and students like. It's the fastest way. So number 5, intersect. All right, so number 5, because I do want to know where they intersect, so you hit number 5. Now the answer doesn't come up right away, but it's just literally, it'll be very quick. It's going to say first curve. This is because your calculator is still a computer. Okay, it needs information for this one. So when it says first curve, you just hit enter. Because do you guys agree that I can see it on my screen? If you couldn't see it on your screen, you would have to change your window, right? But just hit enter. Then it's going to say second curve. Guess what you're going to do again? Hit enter again. Then it's going to say guess. You're not actually going to guess. You're going to hit enter again. So you just hit enter 3 times. And then, all right, so enter, enter, enter. So hit enter 3 times. And then you get your x-intercept. Okay. So it might seem like a long process, guys, because this is new. But do you think that's going to be super quick than algebra when the functions get a lot more complicated? Way faster. Okay. All right, so that is your one. We're going to do more things on the calculator, more next semester than this semester. Lots of it's just, let's do our algebra to get everything. But anytime that I can introduce you to the little bit of a calculator this semester, I will. So you can now use your calculator to check, right, that you're doing everything algebraically correct, things like that.